G'day guys and welcome back to RestoHub. In this episode, we're upgrading our intercooler. Stick around. I almost forgot how to do that, it's been that long. It's good to be back. And we're back after what feels like an eternity off camera. Life gets in the way and of course, project cars come last. But that's the way it goes, right? So anyway, let's talk about what we're up to now. As you can see, I've actually got a block back in the car. I was actually up to prepping this engine bay for paint, but things are getting a little more serious with the engine, so I thought I might as well change a few bits and pieces, so I am actually happy and future-proofing the car. So first things first is actually installing a larger intercooler than what I originally had in the car. So I think it was about 500 by 300 intercooler. I'm going up to a 600 by 300 and I'm trying to make it fit. So you can see I do have some old cutouts here from the old cooler piping, and I need to trim the sides a little bit. So what I'm doing, it's actually a twofold approach. So the first is actually try to hide previous cuts and try to blend in what I've done there with the new cooler, and of course secondly make the new one fit. So it's quite a bit larger, so it needs a bit more cut out from the radiator support panel. I did install some crush tubes through the radiator support lower section there, so I've actually ground those down a bit, and I will need to install some new ones around here. So the mounts on the new radiator are 500mm centers, and the old one were about 475 I think, or 450, can't remember. But anyway, I do have to fix that up, but it is what it is. So anyway, let's get back onto this. I'll pop you guys on a time lapse and you can see me go. Alright, as you probably saw, I was sneaking up on these cuts on both sides. Fairly happy with how it's turned out. You can still see just a little bit of a divot there from the old intercooler piping, but might be able to just sort of blend it in as best as I can. So yeah, very happy with it. I do need to knock the ends off the intercooler because I will be welding on a bit of 90-degree aluminium pipe onto the cooler ends, so they literally come straight into the bay on both sides, and that'll help with, of course, the cooler piping. Yeah, very happy with where it's at the moment. I'll continue on for a bit off camera, and I'll bring you guys back for a little update very soon. Alright, stick around. Okay, and here we are. Looks a lot different to what you saw just a few seconds ago. Done quite a bit of work off camera, including knocking off the ends off the intercooler inlet and outlet, and put the guards and grill back on just to see how it all fits. And from a clearance perspective, it's looking pretty good. I don't know if I've got this cooler in the final spot, but she is very, very close. And the reason I put the guards and the grill back on is just to make sure that this bigger cooler wasn't going to foul on anything. Rather find out now than later on when it's all painted and fabricated up with all the pipe work, etc. So yeah, long story short, very, very happy with where we are at the moment. So where to from here? Next steps is to literally deassemble what I've put back on here. So take the grilling guards off, and then start looking at mounting in this intercooler properly. So how I'll do that will be a couple of bolts that come through the bottom of the rad support there, and into the intercooler itself, and then the top. Still work that out, but possibly like a little bit of an L bracket there, and tie it into the upright support, and sort of make it all one piece and give it a bit of strength back, because I have taken a bit out of the support there, as you can see. Otherwise, yeah, wouldn't be able to fit this cooler in. So that's where we're at. I'll bring you guys back a bit later on and show you where I'm at. Alright, stick around. Alright folks, here we are. Cooler is 95% mounted in. I have welded in some crush tubes through the rad support, and of course bolts underneath. So it's very solid. I do need to put like an L bracket on the top of the cooler there and mount it to the bonnet catch, but I can do that at a later stage. For now, it was literally getting this thing mounted in so I could then work out where I need to cut and of course weld the 90-degree bends on the cooler that go into the engine bay. So I think we're going to leave it here for this one. Let's call this one Intercooler Upgrade Episode 1. And Episode 2, you'll see me weld on the 90s as I called out, and have a little surprise, bought some new parts, and going to make the engine bay look really tidy, as well as give this Barra some mumbo. We'll talk about that later on. So super excited for the next stages, and it's good to be back on the tools. I have been off for quite a while, and you guys have probably noticed there hasn't been anything for a good, I think, 10 months or thereabouts. Yeah, hoping to have a real solid next 6 to 8 months while the weather's good here in Melbourne, Victoria. And yeah, lots of things to do, but of course first is to fabricate some new intercooler pipes, and then get this thing back apart and into the final stages of paint prep. So yeah, up to the pointy end. Really excited for the next stages, and of course to bring you guys on the journey. Alright, let's leave it here. I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments section. Let me know what you thought of this video. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I have been asked if it costs anything to subscribe. It's absolutely free. Just go ahead and subscribe and press the notification bell, and you will receive updates or notifications whenever I do post up a video. Alright, let's leave it here for now. See you on the next one.